Sorry, I'm having a midlife crisis today. Sorry, let me say hello. Hey guys, welcome back to Endless Ramble, your podcast with me, Josiah Donaldson. And I having a midlife crisis. Today, it feels like everything's going wrong. So I thought let's sit down and have a chat and hang out for a little bit whilst the world reorganizes itself and makes itself suitable for me to live in. I want to close the door, and low-key I want to close the curtain because I don't like it's too bright. I don't like talking in this brightness. Give me a second. Okay, that's much better. So guys, before we start, how is everyone? How are we doing? What's new? Comment. I have comments now on Spotify, so comment. How are you doing? What's life saying? Is life great or is life a little bit shitty? It's fine if it's either. Today's been more productive than usual, but it seems like everything is against me. I was just trying to edit a video that was meant to go up 4 days ago, but I haven't been able to get it up because Final Cut Pro is not working. And for anyone that doesn't know, Final Cut Pro is like an editing software on Mac, and it just doesn't want to work. And so it's been really annoying because I'm like, what am I meant to do? All I can do now is school. So there's nothing else for me to enjoy life for. It feels like I'm living for nothing today. And then I was like, okay, let's start and try and edit a new video. All my clips are messed up. All the dates are wrong. And my phone, I can't airdrop anything. So I'm stuck. I'm so stuck. I literally want to cry. And I'm just I need to chat and just remind myself that there is more to life than YouTube. And it's not stressful, it's just annoying. You know? But I think on that topic, today we're going to talk about how to get out of a slump, a rut, a pit of disaster. I definitely think that it is normal for people in our age range. Not to say that there aren't older people listening to this, but I feel like particularly for people of high school, college age, there are just those weeks where suddenly it's everything's going wrong. Everything is shitty. You don't want to get out of bed. You don't want to do anything. But despite that, you still do everything. I've noticed that over the past, not yesterday, over the past 6 days, I've kind of been in this slump, don't know what to do mood. And I am trying to figure it out. And so I think we can figure it out together. So I think we're going to talk a little bit about what my experience is. And then we're going to go through some solutions. What can we do to get ourselves back on track? Because it's not easy. Especially if, I feel like a lot of the people that talk about this are kind of out of touch. And there's only a few people that I can listen to talk about this topic and really take it into account. Because the people that talk about this, the big famous people, the Kim Kardashian. I'm not talking about influencers. I'm talking about real, famous people. I find it hard to listen to their advice because sometimes it's okay, but if you feel like shit, you can just go to Chanel and buy a bag. And, they say that money doesn't buy happiness, but I will say that to an extent, if I feel shit and I go to a coffee shop and I buy a coffee, it will encourage me to do work. And I end up feeling better. So I don't know how I feel about the money doesn't buy happiness thing. I do think it's quite a kind of a topical kind of taboo quote to say that it does. But yeah, we're going to go through all my trials and what I've tried and what works to get into a new rhythm. of things. So yeah, let's get into it. I think first of all, I have like okay, let's start off with 10 years ago. I used to be a very smart kid. Not anymore though. No, I'm kidding. I'm still smart, but I used to be very academically driven. That all went away in secondary school, and there's a whole. You can listen to the podcast, the first episode, to know more about that. And so, it feels like when something doesn't come easy to me or things don't happen easily for me, I'm like, hey, I'm gonna give up. I'm gonna give up. Why am I gonna keep going if it's not happening easy to me when there are 100 million things that I've done that come super, super easy to me? And that is not how we should look at things. That's not how we should look at life, because not everything is easy. Like, there are certain things that you're gonna need to like pray on or have a go at before you do, like before you're successful at them. I think one of those things for me right now is probably living as an 18-year-old. No. It's, I think for me, like, what has helped me get out of this kind of like slumpy vibe, which, let me be honest, I'm still kind of in, is just like having a reason to get up and get out of bed every morning, and not just something silly, like, not like, oh, I love life, let me get up and go. No, I mean like a to-do list, like, what are you doing today? Like, what, why are you awake? What is the difference between you being asleep right now and you being awake right now? Like, for example, for me, that would be like going on a walk or doing schoolwork or cooking something new or editing a YouTube video. And you see, this is why I got so stuck today, because I was like, okay, if I finish school and I finish this, but I can't do the next thing that I'm awake to do, why am I, like, what is the point? Like, what is the point? And it makes my brain hurt, because it's like, okay, I can't find a solution, but I don't want to do anything else until I get this other task finished. So what do I do? Because if I do anything else, I will just be thinking, sorry, I don't know where this came from. I was using it for school. Everything else that I try to do, I'm going to be thinking, I need to get this done. I need to edit this video. I need to do this assignment. I need to call this person. When in reality, like, that just isn't realistic. And I think my problem is that I'm having right now is like, even if I go and do something else, when I come back to try and do this task again, it's not going to work. That's what my brain says. It says, if you try and come back and do this, there's no point, because it's not going to work. So you might as well just not do anything. You might as well just go to sleep. You might as well just give up. You might as well just shut up and go to sleep and rot in bed for 25 years and you know, not do anything. And to be honest, I know you and I both consider that at least twice a month because it just happens. It's not something you do consciously, like, just sometimes, like, I want to rot in bed and watch TikTok. And actually, I'm trying to get better at not doing that, because it just doesn't feel good afterwards. Like, I don't sit in bed and rot on TikTok and think afterwards, like, oh, I'm so enlightened and so happy and fulfilled by this. It's like, no, like, it doesn't, there's no point to it. And I think that's something that you gain wisdom on as you get older. I think maybe just as you experience life, like, that you don't, is that you're ever changing, and everything is always changing, and it's hard to get up and put in 100. Sorry, I'm so tired. I'm not tired. I don't know why I'm yawning. It's probably just because of something missing, like water or something. I don't know. Anyway. Sorry, I'm going blank. There is a reason that, like, you feel bad after sitting and rotting on TikTok. It's because there's nothing in the long term that's, like, there's no delayed gratification. Like, the gratification from TikTok or rotting in your bed or whatever you want to call it, like, there's too much instant gratification to the point that your attention span is crumpled up, destroyed. It is non-existent. Like, so you can't put in the effort to do something that will make you happier but take longer, because you can just be like, oh, why am I doing this if I can just go on TikTok? If I can just go on Roblox? If I can just go on Instagram and look at this other person who's living the life that I want to live, but I'm not living it because I'm taking too much of my time watching someone else do it because it takes too much effort to do it myself. And I think that's the harsh truth. I just literally like roasted myself. I think that's the harsh truth. And when you get to this late high school, early college age, when your whole purpose of life has been just to like go to class and get through class and shit like that, and then other things come into the picture, it's like, oh, can I sustain this much going on? Or even sometimes when there's periods where you're not having to do as much, it's like, why do I not have a never-ending task list? I can just sit here and do whatever I want. And then you end up sitting there and doing whatever you want, and you feel like shit because you go to bed at the end of the day and it's like, what have I done except sit here and do nothing? And it's not every day. Everyone knows it's not every day, but it's just sometimes when those things happen. It's when those days come, it's almost as if the whole time it's happening, you're aware of the kind of lack of interest. Sorry, I'm itching my head with a ruler. That's disgusting. A lack of difference in the day, like the monotony of, oh, I sit down, I get started to do something, but then there's no reason to do it, so I go on my phone and I go on TikTok, and then I put my phone down, and then I pick it up to check it again, and I go on TikTok again, and then I put it down because I know it's boring, but I pick it up again because it's instant gratification. And that's kind of my take on that. My second kind of insight into getting out of a slump is having an activity that benefits you, but you have to go somewhere to do it. So like, I'm not saying just going on a walk to go on a walk. Like, I'm saying go on a walk, but then also like listen to a podcast or listen to some music. I prefer a podcast or an audiobook because then you're learning something. It's a multifaceted activity. Like, you're not just going on a walk to go on a walk. You're going on a walk and you're learning, I don't know, how to build the next biggest business in the world, or how to make coffee for yourself in the morning, or how to invest, or something just different, something that you don't know that you want to know. And then you get home and now you've had that dedicated time for, one, self-care, and two, learning a new skill. It's like, oh, okay, I've done something today for myself and for my brain. Now I'm going to try and do something else that is rewarding but also takes time. You want to reward yourself in a way that is not just instant gratification. You want to reward yourself in a way that is delayed gratification. You want to read a book. You want to learn to knit, crochet, make a YouTube channel. Like, even though what I was saying earlier about me getting kind of stressed out about the clips not being in order and the video crashing and getting corrupted, although it's annoying, and I probably, if it doesn't work, I will probably not go back to that video just because of the effort I put in initially. You can make a new video. You can start from scratch, because either way, I'm going to say, when you put so much effort into a hobby of yours or something you enjoy doing, and it gets completely screwed over and you have to start all over again, it's the worst feeling in the world, and I hate it so much. It reduces my motivation by at least 75%, because I'm like, oh, I'm going to put in 7 hours of today into creating this thing, whether that be YouTube or whether that be another creative outlet. If you do drawing, if you do crochet, if you do pottery, if you do ceramics, anything like that, after putting so much time in and then it completely gets screwed over, it is the worst thing in the world, and it really demotivates you. But what I'm going to say to myself right now and what I'm going to say to you is, you cannot let a small little like inconvenience in something you enjoy take away the joy that it gives you. And especially if you think that it's your purpose in life, you can't let that small little incident completely screw you over for the rest of your life. And then you're never ever gonna try again. That is so sad. Like, you're never ever gonna go back. And for me, like, you're never gonna go back and open up Final Cut Pro and edit a new video because your last video got fucked over. That is so stupid. Like, why are you gonna give up? That's like going to class. I'm gonna put it into a class context because this is how it works for me. This is like going to class, right? Doing bad on one question out of 10 questions and then going back the next day and being like, okay, I'm not even gonna try 10 of them. I'm just gonna give up. I'm not gonna do any of them. I got 1 out of 10 wrong yesterday, so therefore I'm not even gonna attempt to do any of the 10. That is completely throwing away all the opportunities that could be waiting after you've made this next step. Particularly, I don't know if it's a hormonal thing, like if this is just something that happens a lot, but I think that I find in my friends that we haven't really found the middle ground between having rest time, working enough, and then just taking a slump. Like, there's a middle ground between, like, oh, I've done this today, so I'm gonna rest. Or, like, oh, I have been resting for quite a while, so I'm gonna try and do this instead, like school, or work on a hobby, or something like that. Because even though technically you could say that working on a hobby is not a constructive activity, which I completely disagree with. Even though you could say that, it is still more constructive than just sitting there on your phone. Despite having studied for 2 hours, like, sitting there on your phone is much less contributory to your brain, your mental health, and just your overall dopamine and the dopamine and the endorphins that come from working on a project that you really want to put the time and effort into. Next tip, guys, I'm loving this. Next tip, I find that, okay, warning, because I do get carried away with this one and I end up just eating all day. Put some time into cooking yourself a meal, baking yourself a snack that you can have throughout the week, cooking something for your friends, for your family, because this is really, like, as well as having the enjoyment of making the thing, you also get to eat it at the end. I love that part. That is the best part. But I also love the process. And I think that what you're going to do is, say you're baking cookies or a cake, once you've put it in the oven, instead of just sitting around on your phone or picking out the ingredients or doing something, just wasting time, try and do something that is a little bit more productive. Like, for me, even though this is still fun, I like to go on Pinterest and I like to create a board. And for example, it would be a board of something that I have a goal to reach, or something I want to learn to do. Like the other day, so I want to learn how to, like, dress better, and I made this board called Fitted the Freak Out. The freak is not a freak, it is another word. But anyway, Fitted the Fuck Out is the name of the board. I'm gonna be real and honest, because, to be honest, I don't care about cursing. Like, interjection, but I've never really had an issue with cursing because it's not affecting anyone. Like, okay, I get it if I'm talking bad on someone, but I'm just using it as any other word. Like, what is the difference between saying a curse word and saying another word with the intentions of a curse word? Now, that is something you need to think about. Anyway, I had this Pinterest board, and so now what I try to do, even though it's still a fun activity, when I'm on a break from doing something or I'm waiting for something to finish, I go on Pinterest and I add things to this board. It's got different sections, and, like, rather than going on TikTok and just be like, haha, like, skip, I have to put in the effort and the time to look at something, be like, ooh, do I like this? Do I not like it? Make sure it's in the right place. It's just a better way of using social media to have fun, I think, in my opinion. But yeah, if you're baking or cooking something, make sure to fill the time make sure to fill the waiting time with something productive. And, you know, that could also be cleaning up your workstation, like washing the dishes, wiping the surface, prepping a serving dish for when you want to serve up your whatever you've made, your delicious, yummy treat. Okay, my fourth tip is to look at the bigger picture. Think about your past self. Think about your future self. Think about the people in the world who do not have access to the resources that you have. And I feel so convicted saying this because there are so many people on the planet who don't have access to the basic things, and we have access to phones, computers, books, pens, paper, cameras, the outside world. We can go outside without having to worry about if we're going to get arrested. There's just so many things that we have access to in the West, that I think looking at it on a bigger picture makes you really think, okay, I'm wasting my damn time. Because if you want to sit there in your slump and have your rotting time, okay. But there are some people who don't have the privilege of having rotting time. And thinking about that for me personally is what sometimes gets me out of these slumps the most, because it's like, oh wow, you have access to everything you need to enjoy, fulfill, get better at, start a hobby, and you're just taking it for granted and sitting there in bed and doing nothing. Like, there are so many people who wish they had what you had, no matter if it's the smallest thing. And I used to hate when people say this, and you're just sitting there and taking it for granted, and you don't know what you could do with the resources that you are blessed to have. Think about it for a second. Just think of what you have and what you could be using it for to benefit yourself or others. What you can do that you would wish you could do if you didn't have said resource. I hope that makes sense. I hope I don't sound stupid. I hope I seem legible today. I think that's all I want to say today. This is quite a short one. I think the next episode I might film in my bed. And I know that's kind of contradictory of everything I've just said. But I low-key just want to sit in my bed and speak. But I love having this rolly chair. But let me know if it's annoying that I move a lot. Because honestly, rolling around on the chair is like a way for me to use the energy. Like, speaking this much energizes me. And so moving on the chair, just, I don't know, it's a way of me externally releasing the energy. I don't know if that makes any sense at all. But I love spinning on the chair. Okay. Well, thanks for listening. This has been Endless Ramble with me, Josiah Donaldson. So, just to let you know, anyone who's not watching on YouTube, my camera did just die. But this is the end of the podcast. And I hope you have a great day. And let me know if you found these tips useful. Let me know in the comments. And then in the next episode, I think we're going to get back to regularly scheduled programming. But yeah, thanks for listening. And I'll see you later. Bye.